Hello, hello.
Hello.
Finally, we are doing this. I know you will feel very bad when I say this, but a lot of actors have also said this when they have come to the couch on the first time. मैंने बचपन का सपना मेरा पूरा हो गया.
Yes, I've heard that a lot. You can get down and dirty where it comes to trolling and saying things, and they attack you on a personal level, as you said, on a personality level. They can attack you for as your orientation or who you represent as a human being, what your fashion choices are, what your sartorial choices are,
Absolutely.
how you speak, how you conduct yourself. They can come down to saying the worst things about you. I was told you can't be a single parent. I was told you shouldn't be dressing like this, you're 50. I was told you shouldn't host a talk show. You shouldn't judge a reality show. Nobody will take you seriously, and maybe they don't. And I've never said that, they take me seriously as a filmmaker.
Yeah.
Perhaps I'm not, because I do so many of the other things. They so feel that I don't have the depth or the magnitude of another filmmaker. I will never be given the credit that possibly sometimes I deserve. And I'm not saying this as a victim. I'm saying this as a reality.
Yeah. When you talk about your dad, do you somewhere credit him for that element in you?
I remember when I saw Sargam and I was 8 years old and I came back and I used to dance to Dapli Wali. He was so proud of it.
Yeah.
And he used to make me dance in front of his friends, and never once thought that it was strange that his 8-year-old son is dancing to all of Jaya Prada's movements. Just because you're not in a relationship doesn't mean that you become a parent. You'll know you'll be a parent when you're emotionally ready. The two are not related at all. It's not that, hi, मेरी जिंदगी में प्यार नहीं तो मैं बच्चे ले आऊंगा जिंदगी में. One cannot replace the other. I don't have feeling any apology for who I am. If I wear a sequins jacket and shiny shoes, I own it. I enjoy it. That's who I am, and I'm not going to give it up.
He's sensible and sensitive. He's vain, he can be frivolous, but he's proud to admit it. And that's what Karan Johar is for the rest of the nation. I love him for who he is, and I think the world loves him for who he is. Today, I have him joining me for a conversation only on Bollywood Bubble, sharing his story with us. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Finally, we are doing this in person.
Yes.
And I'm very happy because, I know you will feel very bad when I say this, but a lot of actors have also said this when they have come to the couch on the first time. कि मैंने बचपन का सपना मेरा पूरा हो गया.
Yes, I've heard that a lot. From many of the actors, they said, I've grown up watching this show, and I'm like, shut up. I'm like, I don't want to feel that old now. Now I've announced to the world I'm 50, so abhi kya hai?
Yeah, but it's okay. You don't look and you don't feel 50. That's the
You're
best.
just being kind.
No, I think I'm being honest.
Okay.
Karan, I want to start off by asking this, that sometimes you don several hats. You're a prolific filmmaker, and you're one of the best talk show hosts. Like when I started, I actually looked at you and I felt like, okay, I get trolled also for that, but I genuinely want to be like you because you're yourself.
Yeah.
That's the best part. But at the same time, getting called out all the time for being yourself, does it ever get to you? Like, do you feel helpless at times?
No. I mean, over the years, man, I've grown to develop a really thick skin. So it went initially from anger to annoyance, and now it's ended at amusement. So I call it the journey of the 3 A's. It went from anger to annoyance to amusement. Now I laugh, and now I read some of the trolls and the comments, and I laugh at some of the things they say, because I must say many of the trolls are really quite creative in what they say. They can really be quite creative in them dissing you, in them messing with you, screwing with you. They will say some really funny things, and I laugh now because I'm like, I must be relevant enough for them to hate on us.
True.
Because I always say, love me, hate me, just don't be indifferent to me, because that could be a problem. That is something I'm not ready for. I'm not ready for indifference. So I'm absolutely okay if they're hating on me, because in my head, hate is also an acknowledgement of something.
True.
Because that means I must be really bothering them for them to hate me. And I like the fact that I'm bothering them.
But at the same time, the problem is that when you're a celebrity, they somehow attack your personality, and this is a personality-driven show. You bring out your own personality to the show, and people bring out their own personalities. Do you feel that that's a little too much sometimes?
I mean, you can get down and dirty where it comes to trolling and saying things, and they attack you on a personal level, as you said, on a personality level. They can attack you for who you represent as your orientation, or who you represent as a human being, what your fashion choices are, what your sartorial choices are.
Absolutely.
How you speak, how you conduct yourself. They can come down to saying the worst things about you. What doesn't break you makes you stronger, and you should always be a version of yourself and no one else. I believe that being yourself is an art form.
Yeah.
And if you can master that, that means you're the master of the big game of life.
True.
And I believe that I have semi-mastered at least the art of being myself and not being apologetic about it, because I don't have feeling any apology for who I am. If I wear a sequins jacket and shiny shoes, I own it. I enjoy it. That's who I am. And I'm not going to give a damn.
Listen, I think you are the voice to a lot of people who go through the same thing and sometimes self-doubt themselves. There have been times when I have doubted myself, but today, you know, when I look at you, I feel empowered. And I'm not saying it because you're sitting here and you know that I mean it, which is why I'm wearing what I'm wearing, I think. But
it doesn't matter. I feel like, you know, what I wear, what I say, what I represent, what I feel is who I am.
True.
If I'm going to project and portray somebody that is not me, then I will be continuously living under a cloud of lies.
True.
And I don't want that. I don't want lies is something I can't stand. I stand for the truth. And if that means projecting you in the way you want to be projected, that is your truth. That is who you are. So never be apologetic and never also take any of the comments to heart. Be who you are.
Yeah.
That's what because eventually in the long span of your life, you will be much more content and happy when you are actually living with yourself and projecting who you really are.
Absolutely.
Because the worst is when people I see who are living a lie on a daily basis. And I feel the most miserable for them.
At the same time, do you remember the first time you actually broke it to your family and your friends that you're going to host a show? Was there disbelief?
Oh yeah, I remember that the first time I said it, it met with vehement like no's. Like I had many of my closest friends said, you can't do this. This is ridiculous. You're a filmmaker. You're supposed to be taken seriously. Filmmakers don't do this. I mean, there were so many myths. Like some of my closest friends were very against it. But I have never really done what somebody else feels. I was told you can't be a single parent. I was told you shouldn't be dressing like this, you're 50. I was told you shouldn't host a talk show. You shouldn't judge a reality show. Nobody will take you seriously. And maybe they don't. And I've never said that, you know, they take me seriously as a filmmaker.
Yeah.
Perhaps I'm not because I do so many of the other things. But when I sleep, am I happy? Yes, I am. Does that matter? Yes, it does.
But at the same time, do you feel, you know, for people who have loved your work and all your films have been commercially blockbusters, you know, whatever films you've directed, do you somewhere sense that, is there that feeling that, you know, I'm not respected enough for my work because of these other things?
I mean, I get it. I get that some of the times the surface level of what they see takes over what they believe of you. So it's like, if I'm meant to get praise, then mar ke I will get praise. Because they so feel that I don't have the depth or the magnitude of another filmmaker. You know, I will never be given the credit that possibly sometimes I deserve. And I'm not saying this as a victim. I'm saying this as a reality. Does it hold me back? No, because now I've grown to live with it. And I've said it to many reviewers and critics. I'm like I've read your review. You want to like it more, but you're stopping yourself. I can read it in your words. It's like you sat there, you know, like, if this is a Karan Johar film, it can't be so, it can't have too much depth. It can't be layered. It can't be this, it can't be that. It will have to be first world problems, rich people's problems. And I was like, so what if you're rich, you can't have art? You want, you know, so just because you're on a private jet and, you know, well, doesn't mean you don't go through heartbreak.
Absolutely.
But, you know, I've stopped justifying it now because I've realized that kuch to log kahenge, logo ka kaam hai kehna, let them keep saying what they have to. As long as in my heart and head, I'm not compromising on my beliefs.
Yeah. You know, this is a show where you get a lot of your friends and people who know you know that this is something that I have to put out, that you stand by people who care for you and who you care for. And it's a fact that people will never realize because they are shown a different picture in news. But people who know you, they know how much of love you give them, how much of warmth you actually give them. Do you sometimes, like you said, that, you know, they feel that you can't go through a heartbreak. Do you think that that has created a different defense mechanism for your heartbreaks? Like even in terms of any relationships, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the show projects me in a certain way that is not really who I am. I have not realized that it's the project. So whenever people meet me for the first time, many a time I've got this, that they said, oh, you're not really what we imagined you to be. I said, why did you imagine this? I've realized it's all the show.
Yeah.
The projection of the show has made me sound and feel like a different kind of person to people in their head who don't know me. And then that myth is broken only when they walk into my circle of life. Nothing I can do about that, man. I mean, I don't know why people imagine that, because they made their assumption on the basis of the show. It can't be anything else, because this is what really gives yourself away. And I've sometimes think, and I'm like, what is it that I'm doing on the show that is making them believe that I'm this kind of person? This movie mafia, or this like extra gossipy and like frivolous, but not, I mean, all these qualities or that I'm accused of or trolled for. I'm like, it's all actually happening because of this show. But I'm like, I don't know how to be any different. This is, I'm being myself. So I'm like, suddenly I don't want to sound intellectual and you know, very intense and very serious. I'm like, that's not the show.
But at the same time, you know, when you announced, the way they announced, that was one of the best marketing strategies ever. Everybody had a heartbreak in the morning. And I feel towards the end of it, we were like, oh no, I think you must have read comments.
Yeah.
Everybody said, why is this happening?
Yeah.
And that too at a time when people thought that, oh, we don't want to watch it anymore. But there were people only writing that, why isn't it coming? And then you announced it. You went on a chat show and you recently said, you addressed an issue which I think all talk show hosts have today, that actors have become very caged.
Yeah.
They don't really want to open up.
Yeah.
How much did you face it this season when you were inviting
I've been facing
people?
it from the last season, actually. Not just, even the last season, I realized that there's a paradigm shift in how actors want to be projected. Like, they don't want to say certain things.
Yeah.
They don't want to reveal too much.
Yeah.
They don't want to kind of give any adverse opinions about somebody else. They want to keep it a little more vanilla. So I have now taken the other path. Like, now I'm making it more fun. So we introduced the game section. We made the rapid fire a little more fun. We brought in this particular season, we brought in something called the Coffee Bingo. It's oh yeah,
one, yeah.
So it's new elements to make it, so to focus on the fun rather than the sensational.
But at the same time, you know, does it become difficult? Does it ever affect friendships when they say no to you? Because I know Ranbir and you are very good friends. And
No, it doesn't affect me at all. I mean, like, I think he didn't want to do it because he feels like he gets into his prerogative, and I love him. I love him dearly.
True.
So that nothing, it's like, just because you don't want to come on the show, it doesn't mean my emotions are going to die for you. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, the show is just a part of me, not the whole of me.
Absolutely. If you had to pick 3 of your favorite moments from the show in like all 6 seasons that you've hosted, if you want to speak about 7th, of course, you can pick any 3 favorite highlights or favorite episodes.
I remember the Shah Rukh moment when he came alone and he got me very emotional.
Yes.
The first time I got teary when he talked about my dad. That's a moment that will always remain very close to my heart. When the Kapoors came, I felt more so, it's even more emotional today because we've lost 2 of those members and I'm very attached to the family. I felt that entire episode was an emotional moment, and it was lovely, it was fun and so nostalgic. I would say the third moment is when Salman came with his 2 brothers.
Yeah.
I really felt that was magnetic.
It was
it was just amazing just to see the 3 siblings together. Many others. In this season, of course, having Ranveer and Alia, who I'm working with, come in, and Akshay and Samantha were fire.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it was really like, it was a really amazing episode, and she's really sassy and I love her. And I'm glad that her sass will be now seen by the world.
You know, when you talk about your dad, I think one thing that he has done, which you are completely giving out to the universe, is like he's always let you be yourself. Do you somewhere credit him for that element in you?
Yes. He was a very, very progressive thinking and a very open-hearted, large-hearted man. He never ever made me feel like I was different from anybody else. He enveloped, and I remember when I saw Sargam and I was 8 years old and I came back and I used to dance to Duffly Wale, he was so proud of it.
Yeah.
And he used to make me dance in front of his friends, and never once thought that it was strange that his 8-year-old son is dancing to all of Jaya Prada's movements.
Yeah.
You know, and he never thought that there was something. He was just proud of me, and I hope he is proud of me wherever he is today.
Absolutely. And I think your mom is also very proud of you, and your kids are. When you decided to become a single parent, like you said that a lot of people said that you can't be a single parent. Did they ever tell you why? And
no, I think they all thought that maybe it was too much for me to handle given my schedule. I don't think they were saying it for societal reasons.
Yeah.
It was more for man. But I just knew I was ready to be a parent.
Yeah.
I just knew I was ready to give a piece of my heart away, and which is what I have done with my 2 children. I think one big piece of my heart is them, and one big piece of my heart is my mom. And I feel like that love quotient is satisfied.
You know, I want to ask you this personally also, that there was an interview recently that you did with Anupama ma'am where you said that the only thing you regret in life is not having a love life.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes when I feel that way, I feel emotionally and romantically devoid of emotions. That is the time I also feel that I should become a parent, single parent. And did that stem? Because kids can give you the love that nobody else.
Look, just because you're not in a relationship doesn't mean that you become a parent. You'll know you'll be a parent when you're emotionally ready. The 2 are not related at all. It's not that, hi, मेरी जिंदगी में प्यार नहीं तो मैं बच्चे ले आऊंगा जिंदगी में. One cannot replace the other. The love you get from a romantic liaison is very different from the love you get as a parent. And they're very different forms of love.
True.
You have to be ready emotionally to be a parent, because a parent is a very selfless person, is unapologetically selfless, is also somebody who needs to know it's a big responsibility to raise children, to give them a certain value system, give them a certain a morality, a spine, like courage to face the world, which is a tough world that we're in. Romance is a different thing altogether. So never confuse one for the other.
But do you still miss having that in your life?
Now I
do you
think
deal with those
my
emotional
pool of
words?
love is so complete with the parent, with my mom and my kids.
Yeah.
But of course, that one portion of your heart will always remain like there's a vacuum there, right? And but like they say in the song, "Har kisi ko nahi milta yahan pyar zindagi mein." So it's not that love has never evaded me, but maybe romance has.
In the last 10 years, in the last 1 decade, there are only 2 films that you've directed, and all your films have been commercially blockbusters. Do you sometimes feel that you've not done enough of directorial projects because
Yes,
you're
I
busy?
feel that. So I want to make up for it in this decade. I want to make at least 6 films this decade. That's my rule of like myself, like my, what jise kehte hain na, that you've made up, like this is my resolution for this decade. This is my resolution that I want to make 6 films for sure this decade.
And has Yash and Roohi's, addition to your life changed you on your lifestyle in any
Yes,
way?
they totally have. My schedule has changed because of them. And thankfully and lovely and hopefully it has.
Before going, I have to ask you about this, that whenever this show comes up, there's a lot of chatter, there's a lot of controversies, but at the same time, the same people love it. It's something that people also love to loathe about it. Do you sense that? And
Yeah. It's
do you
guilty
sense that
pleasure
before?
viewing, no? Nobody's going to admit they have to watch Coffee with Karan.
Exactly.
I mean, it's like they'll feel judged, and I'm fine with that.
But was there any point in time in your life where you felt judged and that affected you?
No, I'm braver than that. I'm stronger than that. As I said, my skin is thicker than that.
But I have to tell you, Karan, that it is always amazing to meet you, and it's more power to you, because I think your voice gives a lot of power to the voice of people who are voiceless and about themselves, and who are not ready to accept themselves the way they are. And you actually are a revolution in yourself. And I hope that this revolution continues for decades and decades, and we keep meeting and having these conversations.
Thank you, Nayan. God bless you.